Right, it's Jeff and Wilma Budrum, and I'm going to rob the bees again, and I think this will be my biggest ever robbing. It's been just on 2 months since we robbed last time. Last time we got 930 kilos, and I'm going to explain a few things a little bit clearer. Normally I have one box for the brood and one box for the honey. So what I've been doing is giving the other bees a bit more work to do and bringing the full frames of honey home. So these two boxes have full frames of honey. What I do is take all the frames out first, stand them up against the box or something, and then shake the bees off after I've put the lid back on. By doing that, you're only shaking the bees once. By shaking the bees only once, they're not going to get so angry and try and attack you. Look at that one. That is actually heavy. That's quite heavy. You can zoom in on that bottom of the bottom ball there. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? A lot of honey coming in at the moment. We're in the middle of a honey flow. This is the 7th day of winter, of our official winter, and there's a lot of blossom out. A lot of gum trees are in flower. This is a frame that I put in without any foundation.
Beautiful.
In one of the other hives, and you can see how they've just filled up the gap with honeycomb, and the frame has actually fallen apart there. With this frame with the broken bottom, I have an unused lid. I'll just set it in there for the time being until I've got 90 frames there to put on the back of my ute out of 10 hives. I'm going to show you the apparatus that I use. This is very high-tech apparatus, this is. This is a fish box. I have a honey gate, a bit of wood, a wood made up with a nail sticking up here. And you can put your frame on top of the nail and then turn it around while you decap it. I have a piece of that stainless steel security screen cut into the shape of the bin. Now I'll take that out. Now down here I have a wooden frame which acts as a false floor, so it's got a little recess down the bottom here. So when I put this back together, you can see what happens. The cappings fall into this bin, and then the honey drips through the security screen and then out the gate into a bucket. A single burner stove and a pressure cooker. Where the hose comes out of the pressure cooker, I've got my steam knife here, and the return line goes into that bucket. So I have my 2-frame honey extractor. I'm not sure how old it is. I've had it for about 26 years. I paid $100 for it, and it works a treat. It really works well for me. So not only are you extracting the honey, but you're getting a bit of a workout at the same time. Now my honey comes out of the gate into this bin here, which has got mesh. It's a sort of a coarse strainer. The honey goes into that and it drops down into this other bin down the bottom here. When that fills up, I just fill the buckets up. So tomorrow morning I'll get stuck into doing the extracting. So it's very high tech, as you can see. I'm just on my last box of my first 13 boxes. It's going to be quite a few days and quite challenging for a few days. Now, some of the honey that came in just recently has got a high viscosity. So what I'm doing before I put these frames back in the hives is cutting out any of the drone comb. Quite often, if you don't cut the drone comb out, the bees will make it thicker and fatten it right up and not put any honey in it. And I've got a couple of examples. Now all this gets melted down with the cappings and the wax and the honey separated. You can see what happens here. They've rebuilt that drone comb and made it really thick, and you can see how the wax is And what that does is it robs the frame of space for honey. So if I cut that out, and the bees will build up again with drone comb and fill it with honey. If you leave it there, they'll just make it fatter and fatter, and then you get less honey in the frame. Now look at this one. You can see that there they've made it. They've really built it up, and so that takes away space for honey for next time. So I'm just going to cut that out. I'm going to return the frames into this hive. This is the last box, and then we're going to take this lot home.
Oh, about time, Jeff. You don't know when to stop.
No. A lot of these boxes are full. Now I've still got 3 boxes to look at on that stand. I've got those 2 boxes there on that stand over there, and I've got all those double boxes on that far stand. A lot of these bees are after the honey. So, we ended up bringing home 14 boxes, ready to start tomorrow morning. But what I'm going to do tonight is cut up some of these frames. Now, these frames here are the frames that I put in without any foundation. So there's one frame here in particular. You wouldn't think that this frame didn't have any foundation. That is a foundationless frame. If you've got a bit of a honey flow on and you're not ready to rob the bees and you want to give the bees more work to do, all you do is take out every second frame. As long as you've got frames that are fully capped, you can take every second frame out and replace it with an empty frame. As long as you've got a bit of wax on the top bar, the bees will draw it down in between the 2 frames of fully capped honey and pull it down nice and beautiful like they've done here. So what I'm going to do before I go to bed is cut the guts out of these. I've got my honey strainer here. We got to just sit it on there and just sort of commence to just hack away at it. Now if I can get 2 boxes out of the road tonight, well then that's 2 less I've got to do tomorrow. So I want to talk about these cappings. So this is getting a bit of a build up now, and I can't even find my nail. So what I do is, once the honey has drained out of the cappings a fair bit, what I do is just load up these 4-litre ice cream dishes, fill them chock-a-block. So I have about 5 of these ice cream dishes operating at the same time. When I'm satisfied, enough cappings in there so that it won't overflow, I put it in the microwave for about, in this case in our microwave, about 13.5 minutes. So what it does, it just warms it up and it brings the wax to the surface. All you do is wait till take it out, wait till the wax sets, and I'll show you that directly. 13.5 minutes. Ideally, you can see what's happened here. The wax has become liquid around the outside and the middle part is still cappings. So that's, for me, that's ideal, because I know that I haven't overheated the honey. So people say you can't put honey in the microwave. Well, you can't if you overdo it. So if you put honey in the microwave, and then you heat it up too high and bring it to the boil, you're going to destroy the goodness out of the honey. Now, so what I do doesn't destroy any of the goodness out of the honey. And how you know your honey's still good is when your honey still crystallises. So in a couple of occasions I've had a whole bucket of honey that's come out of the microwave and it's still crystallised at the same length of time as the other honey that didn't go through the microwave. So it's important to just sort of limit how much time you put the honey in the microwave. So what you do is, now that it's cooled down, and I've got my bin here with all my chunks of wax. During the winter time it's always a bit more challenging than what it is in the summer. However, I don't handle the heat too much, so it's more comfortable to work in the winter. The honey's a lot stiffer, has a higher viscosity in the winter. Now most of this honey I'm extracting now came in the late autumn, and being that the weather's cooler, that makes it a bit harder to get out of the frames. To compound the issue, this honey has a higher viscosity than the summer honey. So I've still got quite a few frames in this lot that was left over from early autumn, late summer, early autumn, and even though we've got cold weather, it flicks out very easy. So in the summertime I might have to wind the handle about 15 or 20 times at moderate pressure. With this higher viscosity honey I've got to rotate it about 35 times with a bit more pressure on it. So this is a frame I've been waiting for. Have a look at that one. Hang on, I'll just have a look at that. It is a ripper. Look at the big bulges. Fantastic. So I've been waiting for this one to turn up. By rights, my right arm should be twice the size of my left arm. I've got a couple of platforms here, so I'm elevated a bit higher and got a bit more power on what I'm doing. So I've just been down and got the last of the frames out of the number 1 site. I've got 8 and probably 3/4 of a box. And we've still got to go to number 2 side and the lychee farm yet.
This is our number 2 site, and these bees are quite cranky. Everything was quiet till Jeff opened this hive. So we've taken 3 frames out of this hive.
The first 2 hives were beautiful. Well, this is the first frame out of this hive. These bees are pretty good. This hive has been a real good producer. That one's the last frame out of that hive.
All the frames in this hive are just beautiful.
Yeah, but this one's fantastic. Look how thick it is, you can get the end view. This is what makes you keep coming back. You see this sort of stuff. We've got 6 more boxes from number 2 site, and that's 6 out of 8. And we got 8 boxes yesterday afternoon from the lychee and passion fruit farm. Now that was 8 boxes out of 12 hives. It'll be another 22 boxes we're going to extract the honey from, and that makes a total of 49 boxes. That's the one I've been waiting for all week. This is the last one. I'm looking forward to seeing what the final tally is in the morning when I clean up all the frames. Well, it's just about a week after I started, and have a look at this here. We've got 80 buckets, 80 15 kilo buckets, plus about 5 or 6 kilos that I put in with our other honey. 1,200 kilos. That's my biggest ever robbing. No wonder I feel tired, hey?
Yes.
And it's all spun out by hand.
You were tired out of your brain last night.
Yeah, anyway, well thanks for watching. We'll catch you later. Check out our next video we're going to make on beekeeping. It's processing the beeswax.